Okay, my name is Adrian Jam. I'm Trade and Policy Advisor with the East Africa Business Council. East Africa Business Council is a hub and spot for private sector in EAC, where we drive our membership from business association across EAC partner state. Members are from corporate, and our main mission actually is to advance the interest of private sector in the EAC integration process. We have gathered here to participate in the regional workshop on training for trainers on Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The participants of this workshop are from business association across all the EAC partner state countries, which are Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, South Sudan, and Democratic Republic of the Congo. The main objective of this training is to develop the trainers, the pool of trainers across the EAC partner state who will be able to conduct national sensitization workshop in their country in order to make sure that the private sector across the EAC partner state understand the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, and especially the Trade in Goods Protocol and their annexes. Also, they need to actually sensitize private sector on the benefit and challenges which are presented by Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. And here the intention is to make sure that the private sector from the EAC take out those advantage and even be able to mitigate some of the challenges which will be presented by Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So this activity has been supported by GIZ from the EAC in Arusha, and we're expecting after this regional workshop, the trainers will be able get the knowledge which is required for them to be able to conduct the national workshop in order to reach wider stakeholders from the private sector in the EAC partner state. So the national workshop will also be supported by GIZ, but will be organized by the National Association in collaboration with EABC.
Hello, my name is Max Miedecke. I'm the Deputy Program Manager for a joint GIZ East African Community project support to the regional economic integration. We are supporting several activities on the implementation of the African Free Continental Trade Area. For us, the private sector is a very important stakeholder in implementing the AfCFTA, and for that we are supporting the East African Business Council to work together with its national association to build capacities of the private sector to have an enhanced understanding of the AfCFTA framework and how to utilize this new trade regime that is being implemented right now as we speak, and to create more business opportunities for East African companies. So we are, as the German Development Corporation, and here I speak for GIZ as the main implementing organization, we are supporting the economic integration in East Africa since the revitalization of the East African community. The AfCFTA is now a very important framework to increase regional and continental trade, and GIZ is supporting, on the one hand, the East African regulatory frameworks within the EAC to support trade within the region, but as well as the AfCFTA implementation to also support and increase intra-continental trade in Africa at large.
Okay, as you understand, the EAC integration is the EAC where it's trying to integrate itself, where we have the area where EAC is trying to deepen integration in terms of moving from customs union to another stage of integration like a common market monetary. But also we have another area of EAC integration where the EAC is trying to widen, where they are bringing new members like Democratic Republic of Congo, the new member like South Sudan, and maybe we're expecting the other country like Somalia to join. But also EAC is integrating with the rest of the world. And a good example is where the EAC now is trying to integrate under Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So this one will give more opportunity to EAC partner states because they will access to wider market. Here we are talking of 1.3 billion people in Africa. So this gives us another opportunity where the EAC partner state can trade with the African countries like Ghana, like Ivory Coast, where we don't have a trade arrangement. So under Africa Continental Free Trade Area, the EAC partner state now come up with other instruments, like, for example, liberalization of tariff and the elimination of non-tariff barriers for those countries which we don't have agreement with. So under Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we are talking of the widening of the market, widening of the choice, where also the EAC partner state can import those products from other Africa continent, can export. But also we are talking of service, not only in goods, where the EAC partner state service provider can start investing in other EAC partner state, but also in services where we think we have some jobs, we can also attract investments from other Africa countries. So here EAC is not competing with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, but we are trying to widen our market, we are trying to widen our choice of import and export of our goods and services.
At the moment, we see that the negotiations of the AfCFTA are entering into a new phase. At the same time, we have opportunities being created through the Guided Trade Initiative, which also includes 3 East African countries. So there are opportunities coming up now for private sector to use the new trade regime. At the same time, we understand from discussions with private sector that knowledge and the capacities to use this new trade regime are still very low. So to address that gap, we are starting with sensitization. We want to make it known what is this protocol, where are the opportunities, but we also want to increase the dialogue among private sector themselves, but also private sector and government, public institutions, to have much more interaction on how to utilize now this framework agreement. As we know, we are focused right now on trade in goods, so there are different product categories that are quite important for different partner states in East Africa, and we want to, through the utilization of this new trade regime, of course, enhance productivity, generate employment opportunities, and at the end also support economic growth and regional value chains in the region.
Okay, in any trade arrangement, I think everyone it is a mutual benefit for in trade. Actually, provide a mutual benefit for those trading partners. So when you look at the EAC, you find that some country has some strengths, some countries has some comparative advantage compared with other, and we are not saying one country may have all the advantages. You may have advantage maybe in the mineral resources. Other country may have advantage in the agricultural sector. Other country may have advantage in the manufacturing sector, while the other country may have advantage when it's come to trading services or service sectors. So it depending the comparative advantage each country has. But EAC actually, when we look, we have a more comparative advantage in some of the sectors, which we think we need to take action and starting make those sector more competitive so we can be able to export more to African continent. We can actually, when you look, for example, textile, we think we have advantage as EAC. When you look edible oil sector, we have some advantage. When you look in agriculture, we have some advantage, and we think the EAC partner state, they should make sure that they create conducive business environment for our private sector to actually start in exporting to African continental free trade area.